All right, let's dive in. In the world of AI software development, there's this really fascinating civil war brewing. On one side, you have the big picture architect, and on the other, the hands-on craftsman. But is it really a war, or is it something a lot more interesting? Let's break down these two massive ideas shaping the future of code.
So we've all seen it, right? You can ask an AI to write some code and boom, hundreds of lines appear in seconds. It's mind-blowing. But that brings up a huge question, probably the most important question. Can we actually trust it? How do we make sure what it builds is what we actually asked for and that it won't just, fall apart?
Well, the answer to that control problem seems to be coming from two major schools of thought. The first is called spec-driven development, or SDD for short. The other is a combination of a few ideas we'll call agent plus skills plus test-driven development, or just agent plus TDD. They sound a bit technical, but the ideas behind them are actually pretty simple. Okay, let's start with the architect's approach. This is spec-driven development. I want you to think of this as the master plan, the detailed blueprint for a skyscraper that's laid out before anyone even thinks about pouring the foundation. In the SDD world, the specification document is king. It's the absolute truth. It's not just a guideline, it's more like a constitution that the AI agent is legally bound to follow. It lays out all the rules, all the boundaries, and exactly what the final goal is. So the way it works is very top-down, very logical. Step 1, a human, that's you, writes a really clear specification. From there, the AI reads that spec and creates a step-by-step plan. Only after that plan is set in stone does the AI finally get permission to execute it and write the code. The whole point of SSD is to manage one thing, intent. It's about making crystal clear what I want. This spec acts like a guardrail, and it's fantastic at preventing the AI from hallucinating or just wandering off and building something you never asked for. Plus, you get this amazing side effect. The spec itself becomes perfect human-readable documentation for your project. So if SED is the high-level architect, who's on the other side of the battlefield? Well, meet the craftsman. This is a totally different way of thinking, a bottom-up approach using an agent, skills, and test-driven development. This model is all about constant feedback and checking your work. The AI agent here is less like an architect and more like a skilled craftsman with a toolbox. And in that toolbox are these specialized tools we call skills. Its job isn't to follow some grand plan, but to just use its tools to pass a whole bunch of really specific tests that we've already written. The process is this constant loop. First, a human writes a test for one tiny piece of functionality. The agent then digs into its toolbox, calls on its skills, and tries to build something that passes that test. It runs the code, and if it fails, no big deal. It just loops right back around and tries to fix it again and again until it gets it right. See the difference? This approach is focused entirely on execution, on the how to achieve it. The AI is basically an operator, a tinkerer, just trying to make sure the logic is sound and the code actually works. And its real superpower? Autonomous self-healing. When a test fails, the agent can often figure out how to fix itself, all without a human stepping in. Pretty amazing. And this is really the heart of the whole debate. You've got SDD on one side, which is the master of high-level intent, making sure you're building the right thing. And on the other, you've got Agent plus TDD, the master of low-level execution, making sure the thing you're building actually works. It's the architect versus the craftsman. But here's the big twist. What if this isn't a conflict? What if it's not a war at all? The most forward-thinking developers aren't picking a side. They're realizing these two ideas can be combined into a seriously powerful alliance. Exactly. As one person put it so well, they're not rivals at all. It's an upstream-downstream relationship. One philosophy flows directly into the other, creating a workflow that's way more powerful than either one could ever be on its own. So in this new integrated system, every part has a job. SDD, the spec, that's the brain. It provides the blueprint. The skills are the hands, the actual toolbox for getting the work done. And TDD, the tests, those are the eyes, providing constant quality assurance, like an inspector on a job site. So, in the real world, this new workflow is just beautiful. You start with your high-level spec. Then, and this is the really cool part, the AI reads your spec and automatically generates all the tests it needs to pass. Then, the agent gets to work using its skills to pass those tests. And for the grand finale, the finished code is double-checked against the original spec to make sure everything is perfect. Okay, so this all sounds great, but let's bring it back to reality.
If you're building software, this raises a pretty important question. Where do you even start? What's the right strategy for your project?
Let's say you're kicking off a new AI-assisted project tomorrow. Where do you put your energy first? Do you focus on writing that perfect grand blueprint, or do you start by crafting the perfect set of tools for your craftsman? You'll probably want to prioritize spec-driven development if your project is on the bigger side, or if you've got multiple people working on it. That spec becomes your single source of truth, the anchor that keeps your whole team, humans and AIs alike, all on the same page. It's also the best way to avoid that messy, one-off code that nobody knows how to maintain later. Now, on the other hand, you should lean hard into the agent and TDD model first if your main goal is crazy high automation. If you're building complex autonomous logic, or you want to give your AI a library of reusable skills that gets better over time, this is definitely where you should start. And all of this synthesis, it leaves us with one last, kind of mind-bending thought. If our AI systems become both the high-level architect and the detail-oriented craftsman, what does that make the human developer? Are we the project manager, the client, or something totally new? That's the question we're all going to be answering together very, very soon. Thanks for tuning in.